Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today, I have a very special guest, Scott Smiley, the co-founder of Balanced. It's an icon project that I'm really excited about. And if you watch my channel regularly and watch Crypto Over Coffee on Saturdays, you might have heard about it in last week's episode. So Scott, thanks so much for being here, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate the time.
For sure, for sure. So the first thing I wanted to do is give everyone an opportunity to get to know you. So uh, give your background, how you got in the crypto space, and what you're working on these days.
Absolutely. So, yeah, a little background on myself. Before I got into crypto, I was working in investment banking, kind of one of the ex-bankers turned blockchain, 2 years
There you go.
banking experience. And then, so in early 2017, started getting into crypto kind of just before the ICO bubbles, like really good time to start like digging around, researching, just spent like what little free time I had as a banker, like, nights and weekends, just reading white papers, getting involved in online communities, teaching myself like everything I could possibly learn about blockchain technology and smart contracts. I mean, I had no
Mhm.
tech background at all, and like didn't even know like what Bitcoin was or like what mining was. Like all of
Yeah.
it was very foreign to me. And through like the help of like a lot of just it's a great online community in this space, and I love that aspect of the job. So anyway, yeah, so got really involved in it. Started going to conferences, started investing, met Min, obviously, as many people know, is one of the founders of Icon. Got him on the phone, and over the course of a few months, decided to take the plunge and jump full time into crypto. So that was in April 2018 is when I started with Min, getting the San Francisco office started. And then shortly after that, Dakey joined, another one of my colleagues, and we co-founded ICX Station together, which is
Cool.
very much focused on like product specific. So like I would say my time is kind of split between icon specific work, which is like token economics, governance, high level strategy, community engagement. I'm sure a lot of people in the icon community see me, in the chat rooms and whatnot and on Twitter. And then the other portion of my time is on ICX Station, which is like product and use case specific, which we'll talk about more about what I'm working on with Balanced.
Awesome. Well, I think that's a great segue actually. We were talking right before we started recording, you said balance that, this is your baby. So I'd love to hear, what it is. If I'm sitting here in the audience and I have no idea what balanced is and what it means for the icon ecosystem, please enlighten us.
Yeah, so I would say it kind of dates back to DevCon Osaka. Actually, I went to that. It's a big Ethereum conference with Dakey,
Hmm.
and we were going there to kind of see like what the recent trends in the industry were and what the Ethereum ecosystem was pushing. And it became like very clear after that conference that like DeFi is the direction that's those are the projects they're highlighting at this major conference is DeFi. And with my background in finance, it really started to click that like it's not just like Ethereum is going to do DeFi or like, this blockchain is going to be like the winner in DeFi. Like these products and this aspect of blockchain infrastructure is like necessary in my view as for any successful public blockchain, like with the cryptocurrency, because what these products really do is like you need a foundation to be able to get leverage. Like
Yeah.
from my experience in banking, like debt, like the equity market, everyone knows about like buying stocks, but like debt is what fuels the world. Like that's what
Yeah.
fuels growth. And you need to be able to take your tokens and be able to still do something with them outside of holding and speculating, or else like you're just not going to be able to extract nearly as much value out of them. And that's really like where I start, like the juice started flowing on Balanced. Like I
Mhm.
started thinking to myself, like how can we get this infrastructure level to allow people to get just very basic leverage on the Icon platform, because I do think it's something that every platform needs to be successful. So that's really where Balance comes into play. It's like that base layer, like decentralized bank, if you will, of the Icon ecosystem. Um, so that's really what we're going for. And I guess I'll just pause there for now, and we can dive deeper after.
Cool. Yeah, no, I think it's really exciting because Icon is starting to have this resurgence. I know the 2017, gold rush, if you will, and then the long drawn out bear market, hurt a lot of projects like Icon that were just really starting to pick up traction in that
Yeah,
high phase. And now I'm starting to sense the excitement coming back in the broader community. Obviously, the Icon community itself has been very loyal and very proud of the accomplishments. Um, so where do you see DeFi going in the Icon ecosystem, and how is balanced a critical cog in that?
Yeah, so Balance like definitely is going to provide that base layer infrastructure. I think like you know, part of what differentiates Balance from other DeFi protocols and why I really do think it's like really that base layer infrastructure is because we're going with 0% interest rates with
Hmm.
just like an upfront origination fee. So it's really for like longer term debt. Um, you know, and like I guess in the same way that like the Fed in the U.S. economy provides that base layer interest rate, it's like usually very low, like the Fed borrow rate, and then other banks kind of build on top of that. That's where I see Balance fitting into play in the Icon ecosystem, offering 0% interest rates. You know, like some projects can then borrow from Balance and lend to their users at a higher rate, like things like that. So, you know, I kind of see it being that like base Lego piece, along with OMM, which is another project led by my colleague Daki. You know, we won't dive too deep into that.
Hmm.
But let's see. And then, like, in terms of, you know, where I see Icon's DeFi ecosystem growing, like, I really do think, like, taking a step back, I've been using a lot of metaphors, and I do view, you know, public blockchain ecosystems essentially as like digital nations, you know, where token holders are the citizens. We have like validators participate in governance, and then we have DeFi as like the financial infrastructure. And, you know, on top of that, you really need like foreign exchange programs and foreign exchange rails, right? And that's where
Yep.
interoperability comes into play. And I'm like really excited for the stuff that I've been working on. You know, like obviously I'm excited for Balanced and the individual DeFi projects, but you know, at the icon level, at the protocol level, like the uh, way I see interoperability going in the future, like we're going to be able to, for example, you know, maybe you can borrow ICX on the Icon network at 3% and then lend it on another chain, let's say like, you know, some Polkadot parachain or like Binance Smart Chain or something at like maybe 5%, you know, or
Yeah.
in the Ethereum network. And you have all these different kind of money markets interacting with each other. And that's where I see like the serious growth potential for the industry is like all this interaction across networks, across these digital nations.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, just in the most basic example that you gave, which is, borrowing in the native ecosystem and lending on an interoperable, third party, that is a huge avenue that I think is just starting to open up as interoperability begins to be possible. And so, for Balanced specifically, is the primary goal, at least in the immediate term, to give sort of ICX holders, the native coin within the Icon ecosystem, the ability to convert their or basically take loans with their ICX as collateral? That's the idea generally?
Yeah, I mean the absolute like base like phase one of Balance is to bring leverage to the Icon ecosystem, give
Mhm.
ICX holders a way to do more with their ICX and get more out of it. So that's definitely like the initial plan, and then from there, like you know, it is going to function as a DAO, and I'm going to take community feedback very seriously from the start. It could go in like a couple different directions. Maybe we want to turn Balanced into the decentralized bank for several other connected protocols, and we could add. It cannot be just ICX as collateral, but maybe any other of the connected chains, we could take their tokens in as collateral as well. That's a possibility. We could also go in the direction of creating different types of pegged assets. So it's going to start with balanced dollars, pegged, a token that's pegged to USD. Maybe the community, I've been hearing a lot of feedback so far that we have a lot of people in New Zealand in our community. They want to peg, New Zealand dollar. Maybe people want to be able to trade or leverage up with other cryptocurrencies. Maybe we'll get a balanced Bitcoin going, or maybe even a lot of people like to trade oil. We could go balanced oil, like depending on like the balanced community from the start and the direction they want to go. That's the direction we're going to take the project.
I love to hear that. Yeah, I think that there are not enough projects that engage with their community or the community of the protocol that they're building on early enough. And so then they have to wait till V2 or V3 of their product to really reintegrate feedback into the development loop. And that's a critical process, I think, for the longevity of a lot of these different protocols. So it's good that Balance is doing that from the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, community is everything, and everyone on the balance team understands that. And like some people think I'm crazy, like with the amount of time that I spend interacting on like Telegram and whatnot. But like that's absolutely, in my view, like paramount to the success of any project with like a decentralized community. You got to foster that growth.
Yeah, particularly if you're trying to, you know, push it as a functional DAO. Like,
Yeah,
any
exactly.
decentralized autonomous organization has to start with the the community from day one. Because like, I don't think you can start as a centralized project where there's no feedback and no relationship, and then say, okay, now we're going to flip the switch. It's a DAO, you
Yeah,
know?
good luck with that. Yeah, it's definitely like grooming that community, and then like, and then like the education process is also very important. If your early users have like no idea how this works, I mean, how can they contribute to the DAO? And they're going to
Mhm.
be like the largest token holders. So making sure I spend time like giving well thought out answers to my community members, and making sure they feel like quickly too. I don't want a question hanging out there for like 24 hours. The guy, that has to wait so long. So I try to be online often and try to answer questions of community members and spend the time educating them, because I know these are the future managers of this project. These are the future
Mhm.
members of the DAO.
Got it. Yeah. And, if you look at Icon this year, right, to date, I think there's already been a lot of excitement about what's going on in the ecosystem. Where do you, as someone who's tightly integrated into the Icon ecosystem and is building in the Icon ecosystem, what do you see the rest of 2021, excuse me, holding for the project? What do you think we see in the space?
Yeah, I mean, to say it bluntly, I'm looking for aggressive growth. I want to be as aggressive as possible with BTP, with interoperability, and get
Hmm.
turn Icon into a blockchain of blockchains, a community of communities, like really achieve that original vision. And I see a path forward. Like I see that this can happen. And I feel like it's obviously a lot of stress and a lot of pressure, but like seeing that clear path forward to accomplish the goals we laid out in the white paper and then some. Like the original white paper was more about enterprise interoperability, and now we're expanding that scope into public chain to public chain interoperability with all these different use cases of DeFi. I think Icon's bridging solution specifically is like really good for NFT transfer, like
Hmm.
genuine NFT transfer. And there's so many different angles we can go with this solution. And even just the original thing that we spoke about, like lending on one network, borrowing on another, all like that's my focus for 2021, is like getting those Lego pieces like balanced ohm. There's a couple other DeFi projects like Optimus.finance is like the Yearn finance of our ecosystem. We have
Hmm.
Equality Exchange launching, which is similar to Curve. Like getting all those Lego pieces in place, and also aggressive integration of BTP with as many networks as we can and as many applications as we can. Like that's where my head is at for 2021.
Got it. Yeah. And for someone who's watching that might not know what BTP is, can you give a quick and dirty explanation?
Sure. Yeah. BTP is our blockchain transmission protocol. It allows, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Blockchain transmission protocol. It's our interoperability solution, and it's generalizable. So it's not like we're starting with token transfer, and native token transfer. So like, ETH or ERC20 as
Hmm.
examples. But the use cases are like up to the imagination, because you could transfer any sort of data in a completely trustless way, not relying on any third party, not relying on any game theory either. Like no like slashing mechanisms on the relayers or the nodes that are participating in this. Just all kept 100% secure through smart contracts, which is one thing I'm really excited about for BTP.
Awesome, man. Yeah. Atomicity, man, making sure that what happens on one side is replicated on the other, and I
Absolutely.
think
Yeah.
that it's interesting because I get a lot of comments about, like I think what people are broadly now calling like Icon 2.0. I think it's
Right.
just
Yep.
kind of following the idea of Ethereum 2.0. Is that like the culmination of all of these things, like BTP, the public chain to public chain interoperability, the advent of DeFi, NFTs in the Icon world? Is that what encapsulates Icon 2.0?
I would like to just give an easy answer and say yes, but like Icon 2.0 really is more about the base layer infrastructure. It's
Hmm.
definitely intimately tied to BTP and that aggressive
Yeah.
strategy I was talking about. But in terms of DeFi, like DeFi can exist on Icon 1.0. Balanced is going to be built on Icon 1.0. It's not like an essential piece of DeFi, but it is going to make our base layer infrastructure, like the core blockchain, more stable, more secure. We're going to have smart contracts written in Java with a Java virtual machine. So it's going to be a much better developer experience than what we currently have.
Hmm.
General kind of scaling solutions to make it more stable. So yeah, overall, like just it's going to give more confidence in the network and enable for smoother growth.
That's exciting. Yeah. Thanks for answering that. It's helpful for me also
Yeah,
as
of
I dig
course.
into more research about the layer one changes, I suppose.
Yeah.
And I think one of the last major like points that I wanted to bring up and get your opinion on is personally, I think that Icon is in this interesting and unique position because, you alluded to this earlier, but some of the focus on the interoperability topic early on in Icon's history was for enterprise and for government. And there was a lot of discussion about sort of the bigger enterprise using Icon. I think that puts the protocol in a unique position as it doubles down more on public, because now you sort of you reach across the aisle between those two very disparate worlds, and they might start to come together with, word about South Korean government using Icon and all sorts of stuff. Like, where do you see that? What is your opinion on that, I guess?
Yeah, I guess like overall, like me personally, I'm more of like a public blockchain
Me too.
enthusiast.
Yeah.
I see the use for private blockchain really as more so like proof of concepts with enterprises and like getting them to dip their toes in the water. And really, I think in terms of like where Icon sits, I think it's just very well positioned for that eventual push to public blockchain adoption. I mean, globally,
Yeah.
obviously within South Korea, we're talking about like when we're in great position for when there is comfortability around using a public blockchain network with a cryptocurrency, that Icon could be the blockchain of choice in that situation. So I think like we're doing everything like everything that we can in the public blockchain space, like everything that we just spoke about. I'm extremely excited about that. And then we also have like this huge other possibility with like Korean government and enterprises being involved in our network as well. So I think like really we have two areas of growth at our disposal here.
Yeah, definitely. And to your point about, that private versus public blockchain thing, I think that, you know, the idea that most similar to how the internet unfolded as a piece of technology that could be used for business and enterprise. It's like the first approach is always like, let's see if we can do this privately. And then
Yeah,
interest
sure.
over
The internet.
time,
Yeah.
yeah, over time the interest becomes, okay, so now this public thing's pretty cool, right? Let's figure out how to do this in a way that we're comfortable. And I think that's where we're at now, is we're starting to see enterprises who have tinkered with this for a long time already, back even in 2017, now saying, okay, how do we, in a way that makes sense for our compliance and business operations, et cetera, move to a public blockchain. And that is the thing I'm most excited about, is to see that, everyday users, enterprises, and, everyone sort of moving to public blockchains.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. I mean, I think like what's happening in the world with like Fortune 500 companies like buying Bitcoin and
Mm-hmm.
NBA Top Shots, like NFTs are becoming hot. Like I'm talking to one of my friends that I just know in my personal life, and he's very much involved in like the entertainment industry, and they're going nuts thinking about NFTs and how they can incorporate them with the artists that he manages and the platform that he manages. And it's really just like the things that are happening right now. I really see us going towards a path of mainstream adoption, especially compared to like the ICO boom, when it was just like promises and white papers and like like this is what we're going to do. I mean, like things are actually happening now, and I see like it's been amazing to like be a part of the growth of this industry. Like I did join like right at the beginning of the bear market, so like that was kind of
Yeah.
tough. But like seeing what's happened since then and like taking a look back, like wow, I can't believe it's been 3 years and like everything that's happened. I mean, it's really, really exciting times.
Definitely. Yeah. And for people who joined in the, bear market, there are so many of them who joined like at the very top, right?
Yeah.
And that, if you're still here, that is like, loyalty of steel, right? Like that means you are really passionate about it. And my respect goes out to you if you are one of those people.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Right back
But
at you.
right on, man. Scott, it was a pleasure having you on the channel. But before we sign off, I want to give you an opportunity to share, where folks can find you, maybe where they can find balance, like what social media platforms you active on, that sort of thing.
Yeah, right. I mean, I'd say like you could find me in any of the Icon Focus Telegram rooms. And if you want to get at me directly, I'm at Benny_options on both Telegram and Twitter. Follow me there. You could follow, and then from there you can find Balanced as well. Yeah, that's a great way to get to me. So thanks again for your
Perfect.
time, man. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely, my friend. And to everyone who's watching, thank you so much. Please do reach out to my friend Scott here, if not just to tweet him and say what's up. And we'll talk again soon, man. Thanks.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. See ya.
Cheers.